Hi, and welcome to Preaching Kitchen, helping preachers preach better. And today, what I've got for you is something about working in all four corners of the kitchen. It's a thing I picked up from a guy called Paul Windsor, who helps preachers over in New Zealand, and a really great guy if you get a chance to hang out with him. But really what I want to do is to ask the question of what does the text mean, and looking at it in four different corners. And the first corner is really looking at the question of what does the text actually mean. I mean, that there is no substitute for that. We actually need to spend some time understanding what is the passage saying and understanding how that works. And that's obviously important. But the second corner we need to move to is what does the text mean for me? What does it mean for the way that I live as a preacher, as a whatever situation I'm in? How do I understand the text? And I think this is really important because it helps us to understand, or it helps our people rather to see that we're actually applying the text for ourselves. And it also helps us to understand what it means to apply the text. So we know when we're asking people to do things, we're actually understanding how hard it is to do those things that we're asking people to do because we've had to do it ourselves. And so, I mean, and that's been the thing that I've really enjoyed is to be able to say, hey, I tried doing this, I found this particular thing hard, so maybe you could try doing this when you go to apply it. So understanding it, the second corner is, what does it mean for me? The third corner is the corner of, what does this mean for us as a church? And I reckon there are two ways you can look at this. You can go, what does this mean for us as a church and as a community? How do we apply this as a community? And then also, how do we apply this as individuals in our church? So what does this mean for my church? I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that another day, but I just want you to know there is a corner there you need to work out how does this apply to a church. And in the fourth corner is, how does this apply to our society? What does this mean for our world, our culture? Because our people do live in a culture. And so what is this passage actually saying to our world? And I think this is actually a really important thing for us to do because it helps stop the divide between sacred and secular to what people do on Sunday as opposed to what they do to Monday to Friday. And we go, well, this passage actually has a fairly big impact for the way that we think about whatever it is, maybe it's sexuality, maybe it's the way we think about money, maybe it's the way we think about all sorts of things, and our society will think this as opposed to what the Bible says, which says that. Sometimes often it'll be a contrasting thing, but sometimes it might be something we actually have in common with the world, but we do need to spend some time in that fourth corner. So there you go. There are four corners of the kitchen that you want to spend some time understanding the text. What does the text mean? What does the text mean for me? What does the text mean for my church? And what does the text mean for our society? So I hope you spend some time you make some time to spend in all four of those corners, that you don't just sort of spend time understanding what the text says, but you spend time in those other corners as well of the kitchen. So there you go, that's the four corners of the kitchen. Thank you so much for those who've been watching, for giving us a thumbs up. If you do like what you see, do give us a thumbs up. If you've got any comments or questions, things you'd like us to have a look at, then make sure you do write it in the comments card. So, yep. Anyway, thanks heaps and preach well.